Wanted to give you an update on my flying experience with the quad. Overall, it's been a pretty good experience. It's been a real learning process getting used to flying in acro mode. And I've had quite a number of crashes. Here I have some of the props that didn't fare so well in the crashes. And I've gone through quite a number of those. And the quad has been through quite a bit. It's kind of like a weed whacker. It's got some grass remnants all over the place on it. The antenna has been beat up. I've got another one on order because of the way the antenna, I've already lost a lobe on that in one of the crashes. So I have still been getting used to flying in acro mode, and I had to turn down the rates because it was so aggressive when I started that I just couldn't control it, and it was get out of control too quick for me. I would react too much and then just lose control of it. In one crash, I just put on the GoPro for the first time. I did have the GoPro mount on there without the camera, and in one of the crashes, the battery came down. This battery came down, and when it hit the ground, there was enough impact that it slid and knocked this, busted that off. I had to use CA glue to put it back together, and then I lost one of the GoPro holders that would sit down there. So this is the first time I've trying with GoPro. It does add a lot of weight. I can tell, and the flight time is much shorter. I also did my first 360-degree roll. There's a YouTube channel, NJ Tech, that was a good tutorial on how to do rolls. And so I was out flying today, and on my last battery, I finally got brave enough and did the roll, which I'll show you the Blackbox recording of that. I don't have any video, but I can show you the Blackbox results from that. And I'll also show you a couple of other adjustments that I've made in the Betaflight configurator. So here I'm in Betaflight configurator, and one of the lessons I learned was not to turn off your accelerometer too early. I had my first flight, it was a disaster because I had my flight controller, I have it mounted upside down. So when I tried taking off and gave a command to pitch forward, it was pitching backward because it was upside down. So if I pitched forward, I was getting the opposite effect, and same with going backward. So that it just immediately did a backflip and went to high RPM on the motors as a result. So the change for that is down here. There's a 180-degree roll. I had to configure that so that it knows that it's reversed. So that was a change for that. The other thing I set on my transmitter was I added an angle mode, so that's an auto level mode. And the reason I did that was because at certain times I was losing video signal in my goggles, and with acro mode it will just continue on in the last trajectory that it had, or command that you had given it. And so with this angle mode, it allows me, if I lose video signal, it allows me to put it in angle mode to auto level and either take off my goggles and try to find it and bring it down gently, or just let it come down a little bit more easily than just disarming it or letting it go. So that's kind of a fallback. This angle mode is kind of a fallback safety switch now. The other thing that I did was I had to turn down the rates here, the RC rate. So I had them up to 1.39, and it was just too aggressive for me to handle as I'm learning to fly this and control this in acro mode. Those RC rates were too aggressive for me, so I toned those down. So I finally got enough nerve to go ahead and do my first 360-degree roll. I got really high, and then I did the roll. I had watched a video from NJ Tech, kind of gave a tutorial on it, and we'll do a little bit of a walkthrough on on that. This is not my first or second roll. This is after I've done a couple and getting a little more comfortable doing them. I'll walk through this. This is the Blackbox log analysis here, and so I can look at what I have here is what I'm commanding. Down here I have the RC commands, and this line is the throttle. So this is showing I've punched the throttle, and this line down here is the roll, what I'm commanding the copter to do from the transmitter. And you can see here that I've punched the throttle, and here's the copter, and you can see all the motors are spun up pretty high, so I'm gaining altitude. So to do this maneuver, what I learned is you punch the throttle, and then basically you drop the throttle all the way down so you're in the fall. And while you're in that fall, then you take your stick and you do the roll move right away, and then you bring the throttle back up. So this top portion here shows the gyro, which is this line right here. So that's what the copter is actually doing, and the other three lines are the PID loop, and that's what's figuring out how to compensate between what the copter is actually doing and what you're commanding and what needs to be done. And so it takes these factors in, what the copter is actually doing, what you're commanding, the difference between those, the air in there, and then giving the command to the motors to respond accordingly. So let's just kind of walk through this, and you see at this point I'm bringing down the throttle stick, so the throttle stick is dropping. So now if I were better on the controls, this would be more steady, and this would just be a straight drop. So we'll begin to do a fall at this point, and as we come along here, now I begin, I'm going to start moving the roll stick to start the roll. And so this here, this thread line is the P term in the loop, and so it's telling it's detecting what I'm commanding, and the air between what I'm commanding and what the copter is doing is large, because this is a quick movement, and so this P term goes up pretty rapidly. And as the P term goes up, the copter begins to respond, because that's what it's telling it, that we need to begin rotating. And you can see on the motors how these motors are starting to spin. Well, it's in a free fall, so they're not spinning at full RPM, but these motors are hardly spinning at all. They're just spinning a little bit. And so as you begin the turns, this gyro now tells what the copter is actually doing. So the copter is coming closer to what I'm commanding as it's rotating around. And so now you see my roll command is at max over here, and my throttle is down at the bottom. And so now the copter, you see over here, it's now rotating at 620 degrees per second. So it's a very quick turn, and so over here you see it beginning to turn. And we'll continue through the roll. So there's less air now because the copter is doing what I'm telling it to do. So the P term is coming down, and we work ourselves through the roll, back around, and now I will begin to move the roll stick back. So I'm dropping the roll stick back to center position, and it continues on through the move. And again, the P term responds that you're changing the direction, your command, and so it responds. The gyro is telling what the copter is actually doing. It's coming back down, and so this is actually pretty smooth. There's really no bounce. I mean, any error is most of the error is just pilot error, trying to get used to the command and stop at the right time, getting the muscle memory on it. Because you see, I have a little bit of bounce here where I go back a little bit, and so that's pilot error there. And so I'm still, the throttle is still down, but I've still got a lot of altitude. So I go into a second roll here, and you see again where I'm raising the P term. The stick command is going up to command the roll there, and so back into the second roll, around it goes, and then we drop the we're dropping the roll rate there, so we're bringing it back, and again the P term is responding, and the copter is responding here what's actually happening on the on board, and the PID loop is calculating what to command the motors, and so then I bring it back, and then I'll so here we'll start to bring up the throttle command to stop arrest the fall that we're currently in. So I'll go back here and just we'll play this, kind of what it looks like as we go through. So that's it. And so I actually had a GoPro on this, and so I'll go ahead and play that video from the GoPro footage, and so you can see what it looks like. So thanks for watching.